What's going on? Welcome back in for some more baseball talk. I am your host, Steven, with just a bet outside. I got the same guest back, Mr. Brad. Brad, what's going on, my man?
Nothing much. Just out here trying to do some predictions and try to get some real good stats here for everybody.
That's
Some
right.
bold predictions.
And all that research we did on the Nationals, right? All that work
Yeah.
we did.
Oh, that was a solid 2 minutes. Solid.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. I appreciate all the support. We're going to get some more baseball fans in this podcast. I know it. We're going to turn all you guys into baseball fans. That is our goal by the end of the season. So, yeah, we appreciate everything. We're going to dive in. We're going to talk about these 5 teams, and we're going to give out best bets at the end of this video. So stay tuned. You're going to want some bets to hold on to for this long Major League Baseball season. So here we go. Let's not waste any more time, and let's dive into the National League East. The three powerhouses in this division. There are the divisional odds. Atlanta Braves plus 110, the Mets plus 175, and the defending NL champions, plus 370 with the Phillies. The Marlins plus 2,200, and the Nationals plus 85 million. It doesn't even matter. They have
My
zero
God.
chance. They're brutal. But last season, the Braves and the Mets finished at a dead tie at 101 and 61. So, the Braves won the tiebreaker. Is that right, Brad? They won the
Yeah.
tiebreaker, and that's why they won the division?
They have
Okay.
better division record.
Okay. Yep. And then the Phillies finished 87 and 75, Marlins 69 and 93, and the Nationals a nice 55 and 107 last year. So it was ugly. Those are the divisional odds. Over under wins for each team we'll get into when we get into it. But let's dive into the Atlanta Braves. This team is freaking loaded. Brad, I'm going to kick it right to you. What do you think about this Braves team?
It's probably the best team in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Just everything you see. Their starting pitching is out of this world. Same thing with their bullpen and their hitting. I mean, you got Acuna Matata for crying out loud. So one of the best players in the game. Then you get Harris along with him. It's a really good team. It's ridiculous.
They don't really have a weakness. I mean, maybe
No.
they're 4 and 5 starters in the rotation, but even then, Charlie Morton, Soroka, they're not terrible. They have no pitcher where you're just like, God, that guy's awful. You know what I mean?
I mean, I expect Kyle Wright to be good again. Same thing with Spencer Strider and of course Max Fried. I mean,
yeah.
They're just
maybe it's because I wasn't a Braves fan, but Strider to me came out of nowhere. Was he a top prospect or did he just like blow up out of nowhere last year?
I don't think he was a top. He came in hot. He was a late round draft pick, and he just came in hot.
He's filthy.
Just throwing gas. He's filthy and throws gas. I mean,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. Speaking of Kyle Wright, 3.19 ERA.
Yep.
He cut his walk percentage in half last year, and his K percentage went from 17 to 23%. So he had a career year. I don't know a ton about Kyle Wright in the past. He hasn't done that much, though. Do you think he's a legit pitcher, though? Kyle Wright can hold down that third spot in the rotation?
Yeah, I mean, he had 21 wins last year with only five losses, 174
Crazy.
Ks with a 1.16 WHIP. It's pretty insane, and he's nasty too. Doesn't throw insane gas, but he's pretty crafty. He's almost like a Verlander. Doesn't need to pump it up anymore. Just knows how to pitch.
When you get to a playoff series, you go like Strider, Fried, and Kyle Wright. It's not a bad three, with that lineup.
Yeah, and then throwing Charlie Morton, who wasn't that bad. I mean, a 4.34 ERA. That's a down year for him, but I mean, he's getting up there. But I mean, he's not a bad 4 or 5 guy.
No, he's like what, 38, 39, 40 years old.
Yeah, he's 39. He's 39.
39, and also, the bullpen had the 4th best ERA last year. I mean, they're just loaded, guys. They're loaded absolutely everywhere. I don't see that changing. If you talk about a weakness, all I can really say is one position, and that's shortstop probably. They lost Dansby Swanson, which, it's a big loss. He played good defense, decent hitter.
Oh, definitely.
I think the thought is that it was going to be Vaughn Grisham's job to lose, and they just sent him down to AAA. Right?
And it sounds like he lost it. Yeah.
Which I don't know how, because he was dominating in the spring and he hit well last year. So.
There's probably some underlining thing going on with him. Maybe he doesn't agree with the front office or clubhouse manager, what have you. And we never know. Closed doors. But Orlando Arcia is not that bad.
He's not bad. I don't know how he is defensively, but
he'll be average. But I mean, they're going to put up so many runs. It doesn't even matter. He can have probably 3 errors a game and they'd still win.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter.
No, I mean, if you go over this lineup, I mean,
Yeah.
First of all, you got my guy that's not talked about, Michael Harris. He's not a bad player
Oh,
at all. He
I
had
love Michael
297
Harris.
last year. He's a 2020 guy, maybe 25 stolen base home run guy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then two guys I love, and I won some money on them last year, but Austin Riley and Madison. I mean, Riley's a stud. He
I've been
just
telling you about
outperformed.
Riley for the past 2 years. I remember
Yeah.
talking to you last year. You said he's not going to be that good, and look at him. He's in the MVP race. I mean, it's just a stud.
He's good. Yeah,
Just a
no,
stud.
he's a
Absolute stud.
stud. So you actually have like at least a couple guys that could be in the MVP race. Honestly, like
Yeah.
Acuna, Austin Riley, Matt Olson, if he has a year, second year in Atlanta, adjusting to the pitching. He could have a career year too. So they're just loaded. Sean Murphy, Ozzy Albies, like it's an embarrassment of riches, is what it is.
Yeah,
So
and getting Sean Murphy was huge. Now their catching position was probably their weakest position last year,
yep,
and
that
now
was
they
huge.
just upgraded. They still have Travis d'Arnaud, who's not bad at all, but now he's the backup, and he'll probably do some DHing because he's not a bad hitter at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. There are two major moves with that. They lost Dansby Swanson and they signed catcher Sean Murphy. That was a big get for them. So, in the bullpen, like we mentioned, the fourth best ERA last year. Minter's a stud. Jimenez
Yeah,
is a stud. Iglesias is the man. I mean, they're just got
goddamn
arm
hitter.
after arm.
And then you add in my boy old Kirby Yates. Love that guy.
The Curbster.
The Curbs
Yeah,
is there. The Curb.
yeah,
And
that's right.
and McHugh is not bad at all either. I mean,
No, not
he's
at
good
all.
too.
Yeah,
Oh,
yep.
the whole bullpen there doesn't matter what happens for pitching wise. They probably have one of the best rotations in the league and bullpen. And then you throw in that offense all that offense really hits for average too. That's the other thing. They hit bombs and average.
Yeah, they're not just 240 hitters hitting 35
Yeah.
bombs. Yeah, definitely.
No, Matt Olson has the worst average and it was probably like 230. But I mean, he still hit like 30 bombs.
And that was kind of a down year, honestly, for Matt
Yeah.
Olson last year. So
yeah, because I thought that trade for Freeman, or when they re-signed, not the trade, but they re-signed, I was like, that's like an even replacement right there. Matt Olson
and Matt Olson's
Freddie Freeman.
He's an elite
Yeah,
defender.
yeah, you just upgraded to a Gold Glove defender at first base.
And went younger.
Yeah. He batted 240 last year, so it's not that bad.
I expect a bounce back from him for sure.
Yeah.
So overall in this team, guys, and we're going to talk about it a little later, possibly in the best bet section, but lineup is loaded, like top 5 lineup in the league. Bullpen, top 5, top 10, even on a bad year. And then the rotation's a top 5, top 10, even on a bad year. I mean, they're just loaded everywhere. Hopefully, Arcia can hold down that shortstop position. They don't need him to be a stud or a superstar or anything like that. Just needs to hold it down, play good defense. Probably like a 9 hitter in this lineup, honestly.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if they even move Albies over to short for a few games to try it out. Who knows?
Does he have the arm? You think he's got the arm for short?
Yeah, he's got the glove for sure. I mean, we can see, might see it.
Yeah, they're just they're loaded, guys. So that's the Atlanta Braves, one of the best teams, if not the best team in all of baseball. Won the World Series 2 years ago, and we expect them to be right there. Like I said, the over/under wins is 94.5. So the projection is they're going to get about 7 games worse than last year. So I'm not really sure why, but that's the deal.
I definitely have them at like 105 wins. I don't see them getting, they're not. I don't think they're going to be nearly worse than last year. It's going to be hard to repeat what they did, but I think they got better.
Yeah, and I know we didn't put this in best bets, but it sounds like just based on Brad's projection and what I think, over 94.5 wins should probably be a best bet for us.
That's going to be easily they're going to get that easily.
That could be an easy win. You could cash that one possibly, a couple weeks in the season.
Yeah, the only way that doesn't hit is if 3 of those guys go down, they're injured. That's
Acuna, Strider, all those guys. Yeah.
If key pieces go down, they might not even get to 94, maybe 85, but that's still good.
Yeah, no, they're loaded. So let's move on to the second team, the New York Metropolitans, the Mets, 101-61. They tied them last season with the Braves. They lost to the Padres in the wild card round. Off-season, they lost Jacob deGrom, big loss, but they replaced him with Justin Verlander, who's probably an upgrade because he actually plays.
And he actually wins Cy Young.
Yeah, the huge addition for the Mets in the offseason was they added Kota Senga, the pitcher, 5 years, $75 million from Japan. Did he throw in the championship game? I got confused. Was Senga one of the guys or no?
I think
he wasn't the starter though, right? Like that young kid that was throwing gas. Okay.
No, he came in relief.
Okay.
But he's good. I mean, all those Japanese players were good. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I heard he's got like a ghost forkball, they call it, and he had a
Yeah.
2.42 ERA in 11 seasons in Japan. So he's 30 years old, but he's still a stud. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pulling the Ichiro route.
Yep. Yeah. But the worst part was Edwin Diaz going down with an injury during the World Baseball Classic. A huge blow for the Mets. They're still going to be good. It's not going to take down their season, but that hurt. They also re-signed Brandon Nimmo, 8 years, $62 million. He had 274, 16 bombs. He's an on-base machine. He's a good player, good addition. But what do you think about this team? This Mets team? Better, worse, same?
I think they're a little worse.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to win 100 games. I have them winning like 88. They're going to get third in the division, but because their starting pitcher, they got Senga, but they got Scherzer, Verlander, Senga, right? But Carlos Carrasco, he's on the decline. He had a decent year, and then David Peterson. And then losing Edwin Diaz, their bullpen, they don't have anything now. They got Drew Smith, David Robertson, and Adam Ottavino, which I love. Adam Ottavino, he's crafty.
Yeah,
but
Ottavino and Robertson aren't bad arms, but I mean that's not depth. They don't got the bullpen depth now everyone has to move up with Diaz out, and it's going to be tough. Here's the other issue I find with this team: Scherzer's 38 years old, Verlander's 40 years old. Now, does that matter? I don't know yet because he just won the Cy Young at 39.
And Carrasco's 36. So
exactly. Kota Senga's 30, which isn't bad, but he's never pitched in the majors, so you don't know exactly what you're going to get from him.
David Peterson's their youngest, and he's probably the worst one in the lineup.
Yeah.
So
their window to win is now. You know what I mean? Like they have to win now. I don't think Scherzer can hold up. I'm gonna be honest. He's been getting hurt more and more. If I were them, just shut him down the second half of the year. Just get him ready for the playoffs.
It's a damn shame because he's had 23 starts and had a 2.29 ERA. He's still 170. He's still nasty when he's healthy, but when he's not healthy, it's a bummer.
By the way, how are these pitchers at this age still dominating? Should that even be legal? Like that doesn't make sense to me.
Because they came from the Tigers. I'm just saying. Just saying.
All ex-Tiger players.
Saying.
Dude, you guys had some good players. Holy crap!
And we didn't win anything, so nothing to show for it.
Don't worry, you still have Miggy at age 40, but he's not quite the same.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if he even plays.
Yeah, no, he's a bench guy. But I think we both agree that their bullpen's going to be a struggle, and if Scherzer or Verlander go down, this rotation could struggle. They could struggle.
And both go down, like you said, they're old. Who knows? They go down, they're screwed. Yeah.
Now they all could stay healthy and pitch what they're capable of, and they could be absolutely elite. So it's going to depend on that, I think. And lineup wise, we're talking some hitters here. My boy, the polar bear himself, Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor.
Big meat Pete. Big meat Pete. Big meat Pete, baby.
Big meat Pete. I never heard that one. And then you got Lindor, who had a great year last year, finally bounced back. Brandon Nimmo, we talked about. Marte, Escobar, Jeff McNeil. You saw him in the World Baseball Classic. This lineup's good. There's no, you can't get around that.
They actually have depth. They have depth as well. You got Marquette. They signed Tommy Pham. They got Tim LaCastro who can come in and pinch run. And Luis Guillermo. He's underrated. He was good.
Yeah.
They got depth. They're pretty stacked hitting wise, and they're all relatively young.
No, I agree. Yeah, no. They're 7, 8, 9. You're not going to have an inning where it's just a 1, 2, 3 inning. You know what I mean? You will have it, but it's not a guarantee because I think they are deep. They're not as good. I still give the edge to the Braves in the lineup. But
by far still.
But I think the Mets have a good lineup. So we agree. It comes down to those three pitchers. Can those old guys hold up? But the Mets are still going to be right there in the thick of it. They'll be in the playoff race. Nothing different. So I know Mets fans are just dying for a World Series.
And David Robertson's going to have to close out games because he's probably going to be the closer now.
Yeah.
And he's done it before. So
and if Mets fans, if you guys are in it at the All-Star break, you're going to probably trade for some bullpen arms, I would guess. You know what I mean? They'll add some pieces. Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's go to the team number 3, the National League champions, Philadelphia Fightin' Phils, 87 and 75 last year. They just got hot at the right time last year. Changed their coach in the middle of the season and still went to the World Series. That's kind of unheard of. But off season, they added a guy. You ever heard of him, Trey Turner? He's a
Oh,
decent
that
player,
guy.
right?
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
you mean the guy that single-handedly kept USA in all the games? That
Yes,
guy?
pretty much that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Superstar Trey Turner is now a Philly. They added Taiwan Walker, ex Mariner, way back. And then some bullpen arms, Kimbrel, who I think sucks right now, to be honest. Strom. But they don't have Bryce Harper the first half of the year with Tommy John surgery. So that's going to be a huge loss for this team. They do have the fourth highest payroll, so they're trying to win right now. And you know what's crazy? They have 6 players making $20 million or more this year.
It's insane.
I don't even know if the Rays or Oakland A's have the whole roster making $20 million total.
No,
But
probably not.
yeah, no, probably not. So good offseason adding Trey Turner. They need Bryce Harper back. They need to hold down the fort until he comes back. What do you think about this Philly team this year?
I think they're going to be better, like I said, than the Mets. I think they're going to just edge out the Mets for second in the division. Their weakness probably will be the bullpen. It looks like. I mean, they still have Aaron Nola as the starter, Zach Wheeler, Taiwan Walker's getting there, but I mean, Ranger Suarez is a middle of the pack guy, not really good. It's a reliever turned starter. You also got the Bailey kid, hasn't really done anything yet. But I mean, they added my boy Gregory Soto. He's a nasty lefty to the bullpen.
He is. He's a good pitcher. Yep.
They got nasty lefties. They got Gregory Soto, Jose Alvarado. He's still good. Like you say, Craig Kimbrel, he's going to be iffy. But Sir Anthony Dominguez is also pretty nasty himself.
By the
But
way, they put Sir in front of Anthony. Like, can you do
yeah,
that?
Sir Anthony.
Sir Anthony Dominguez.
Yeah,
Gregory Soto, I think, was a huge addition for them. I think it helped. But their lineup, let's just say Harper, when he comes back, you're talking Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber, Reese Hoskins. Like, it's pretty loaded. And these guys are more home run type of hitters. Now, they had Schwarber leading off last year. Do you think
that needs to change?
I was going to say, he needs to be like a 5 hitter, right?
Immediately.
Trey Turner.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd probably lead off like Bryson Stott, to be honest.
Yeah, if he can hit, or Alec Baum, but he's not fast. He can make contact though.
That's what I was saying, Stott, because he was a shortstop, and now it's Trey Turner, and Stott's probably going to play more second base, so he's not going to be as tired anymore.
You would hit Trey Turner not lead off then? You'd go like 2 or 3 because he got some pop now.
He might. I think it depends on when Harper comes back because you want to gauge the lineup for when Harper comes back and not disrupt it too much. Like if you put Trey lead off, now Harper comes back and they're like, okay, now we want Trey hitting 3 and Harper batting like second. Then you kind of screw it up. Trey, you can hit literally anywhere in the lineup. He just proved it in the World Baseball Classic. He was batting 9th the whole time, and then got moved up to 6th.
Yeah, I know.
So you can hit him anywhere, and he's going to succeed.
He was more of a true leadoff hitter early in his career, but then he became someone who could hit bombs. And
they're nukes. They're not they're no doubters.
He's a little dude. I don't know how he generates so much power, but
it's that swing.
But here's the X factor for me, man. It's a guy that sucked last year, Nick Castellanos.
He needs a bounce back here. Period. That's another Tiger. God damn it! There's just
that's right. Right.
There's another Tiger product, man. All these guys. He had a down year, but it's age. He's 31 now. He's got to stay healthy too. He's still got to stay healthy.
He does, but watching him in the playoffs was just brutal. I mean, he sucked. He came up in big situations, couldn't get it done.
He lost. He didn't hit for power at all, which he usually does. He only hit 13 home runs.
I know, isn't that crazy?
And that's insane. Yeah. He'd be a solid 6 hitter who we could have leading off on us. It would probably it'd be a dishonest disservice to him for his legs. But JT Realmuto, I mean, he's the best catcher in the league now.
We haven't even talked about him.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about that guy. But JT would probably bat 3. I'd probably put JT 3 and put Trey Turner lead off if that's the case. Then
JT's a stud. And you're talking guy. Oh yeah, he's a stud. And then you're talking guys like Alec Baum, who's a good average hitter. He can hit 7, 8 in your life. Are you kidding me? We're talking guys. We just went over the Braves, the Mets, and the Phillies lineup. Godspeed to all the NL East pitchers. Like it is just freaking brutal. Like not one inning is easy. Not one inning. It's
not one.
It's rough.
And that's why it all depends on pitching. They got to stay healthy. If they just stay healthy, then it's going to be a tough division.
Yes, it will. But they need Bryce Harper back so they can hold down the fort. This team's as good as it gets. It's hard to get to a World Series again, and they did it in a weird way where they only won 87 games. Reminds me of the Cardinals, I think, a way back. They made a wild card at like 88 wins or something, and then they won the World Series. These guys get hot at the end.
Yeah, swept my Tigers, yeah.
Oh, was that one? My bad. I forgot about that.
Yeah, 06.
Yeah, that hurts. Who were those? Who was the ace in '06? Was that Verlander? Are we talking then?
Verlander still, yeah, we got Verlander back in like '01.
Okay. Jeez.
Verlander's 40, so he's been in the league
Jeez.
for like
Yeah.
20 years.
And you had was that one Scherzer too in that World Series or no?
Yeah, we had Scherzer, we had Verlander, Scherzer. I believe we had Doug Fister still too.
Doug Fister, he's a Mariner too. Yeah. I think
Yeah,
he's like a sinking ball guy.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the Philadelphia Phillies, guys. I mean, it's gonna, like you said, it's their bullpen's gonna be decent, but I don't know how their starting pitching is gonna hold up, but we'll see. I do like Wheeler and Nola. Sometimes they go a little up and down, but if those two
Yeah.
can dominate, then I think we're okay. So that's the Philadelphia Phillies. All right, let's go to team number 4 in the NL East, the Miami Fighting Marlins. I just made that up. I don't know what their nickname is.
The
Last
Fishes.
season, the Fishies. Last season, 69-93. Over-under wins this year is 76.5, so they're projected to have a better year. They got rid of Don Mattingly, replaced him with Skip Schumacher, who has never been a head coach in the majors before. But the big trade was something we talked about in another divisional preview. That was they traded Pablo Lopez and got Luis Reyes, which I think was a good trade for both teams, to be honest with you. Reyes will really help this lineup. They really needed that. And then they added Gene Segura, the guy who can make contact with the ball no matter where it is near the plate. And he's going to play third base, which I think has been a little bit of a project in spring training already, but they're trying that out. But yeah, what do you think about the Fish team?
I mean, they got some good young prospects. One key injury is Sixto Sanchez. I think he was
where
going to
the
be really
heck
good.
has he been? He was supposed to be like
He's
the
hurt.
next superstar, man.
But Edward Cabrera is about the same that they have in their starting lineup now. They're both literally exactly the same pitcher, but he's just healthier. And then they also added Johnny Cueto.
Yeah,
Believe it or not.
which he's like 58 years old. How old is he?
He's 37. So
Yeah, okay.
he's old, but not that old yet. But I mean,
Yeah.
he still pitches a 3.3, ERA. They got absolutely no bullpen. I mean, they got AJ Puck and Matt Barnes. That's like pretty much it. That's it.
Puck's not bad, but yeah.
No.
I like Edward Cabrera. He's 24 years old. He throws like 96 to 98. He's kind of filthy. He had a 3 ERA last year. He had an xFIP, which is kind of takes the fielding out of an ERA, so it's a little more predictive type how the guy is going to be in the future, not including fielding, and takes in ballpark and all that. It was a 4.15, so he might have a little regression, but I think he's got some talent. Obviously, it starts with Sandy Alcantara, the Cy Young winner. I mean, he's just he doesn't. Yeah. He's kind of weird because he doesn't just dominate you with 102 miles an hour or anything. He's just a pitcher, man. He's so good.
He's filthy. His sinker and changeup are just absolute garbage. Like the Astros are going to need to cheat if they play against him. I mean, it's just what it is.
He's and it still may not help against him.
It's still not going to help, dude. It's just
but their rotation has a chance to be good. So they added Jesus Luzardo, who is supposed to be this young prospect for the A's for a while. He had a 3.3 ERA last year, but here's the big one. Last year, I predicted that Trevor Rogers might be a sneaky play for a Cy Young. He ended up getting a freaking 5.5 ERA and just absolutely shit the bed. The year before that, 2.6 ERA. He's a lefty who just looked like he was one of their young prospects. I think he got hurt. He was fighting it. But if he can go back to what he was, man, around a 3 ERA and how he was pitching, it's a pretty good rotation. Then you go Cueto at 4,
Yeah, Cueto at 4. Then, like I said, Edward Cabrera only pitched like 80 innings, but he had 75 strikeouts. So, I mean, it's so filthy. Young. But I mean, they got young talent on the team, some old talent like Jorge Soler. He's not going to hit for average, but he's going to hit you bombs. Garrett Cooper, I don't know what's up with that guy. That guy was supposed to be really good. Now he's kind of, crap in the bed. They have Garcia, who was Mini Miggy when he was with the Tigers. Avisel Garcia. But the big story is Jazz Chisholm Jr. He's now going to be playing center field instead of second base.
Oh, that's right. And he is now the cover of MLB The Show, the greatest sports game ever made.
Yeah, he is now the swaggiest player in all of baseball.
Swaggy. So now top of the lineup, you're looking at Jazz and Luis Reyes, right? You got to go 1-2 there.
Yep, Jazz, Luis Reyes. I think Chaz Chisholm, he's probably going to bat third. I think that's where he was at the end of last year too. And yeah, so he'll probably bat third, and they'll probably put like Gene Segura leadoff.
Yeah, so you go Segura, Reyes, Chisholm, and then Jorge Soler at 4.
Yeah.
They're going to lack some power. They need some power behind those guys that can get on base. But They're getting better. I mean, this is a team that's not going to compete for a division.
No.
But if everything breaks right, guys like Trevor Rogers, Luzardo can pitch well. You're looking at a team that can, be sneaky to try to maybe sneak into the 6th seed in the wild card, but a lot of things have to go right.
It's a big ask. They're in a tough division. It's just like the AL East. It's like tough for all of them to make it. It's tough for Baltimore. They're the same as Baltimore essentially, just in the NL East.
That's true. Actually, that's a good comparison. Yeah,
it's just tough. You got 4 other teams that are just pretty good. Besides, I mean, not the Nats obviously, but the AL East.
Maybe in a few years when the Marlins become legit, maybe you'll start seeing the Phillies or Mets start, going downwards. It might be a good timing. But right now, they're a good team. They're bottom 10 bullpen last year with a 4.15 ERA. So like you said, that's going to be a struggle. And we'll see. We'll see if they can generate some more runs because they did not score much last year. They had the 3rd worst batting average in the major leagues last year. So it comes down to hitting. We'll see. But the Marlins, sneaky, decent team this year I guess the better thing to say is if everything goes right, they might be competing close to 500. They'll be like a maybe.
I hope so. I don't even think they'll be 500. I think they still got to put it together. They added some pieces, but they got a lot of young talent that they got to try to build up again.
Yeah, I agree. That's Marlins. So we got one more team, and then we're going to give out our best bets. Guys, let me just say this real quick. We won't waste too much of your time. The Washington Nationals may be the worst team in all of baseball. I know Brad said the Royals might be in another video.
I take that back.
I think it's the Nationals. You take that back.
I take that back after researching this. I take that back wholeheartedly. The Royals are probably now the 2nd or 3rd worst.
Oh, yeah. This team is awful. 55 wins last year, and the over-under, 59.5. Not much better. Their only offseason move that I could even think of that's good is they signed Juan Soto's brother. Does that help?
Yeah.
He's not a major leaguer yet, but I think he's a stud. He's going to be a stud.
Yeah, they got Mackenzie Gore now. I mean, oh God.
That's the one guy I'm interested to see, though. He was a top prospect for the Padres. Big lefty, tall pitcher. They got him in the Soto trade. He might be decent. Not saying, but he'll have to be their ace. So.
They got a decent shortstop now too. They got C.J. Abrams from the Padres as well. They got my boy Jamer Candelario from the Tigers, a good switch hitter, playing 3rd. It won't be bad. But I mean, look at the lineup. Keibert Ruiz at catcher, a good switch hitting catcher. Dominic Smith playing 1st. I mean, oh God.
And Dominic Sue.
Yeah, and Dominic Smith from the Mets. They finally let him go. Lane Thomas, Victor Robles, Corey Dickerson.
Victor Robles is supposed to be good. I think they're waiting for Victor Robles to step up. But I mean, you're not talking much power. CJ Abrams is a guy who, if he's good, he'll be at 290 with like 3 home runs. I mean, he's not hitting home runs. He's a stolen base average guy.
Yep, and they got Joey Meneses, who played in the World Baseball Classic for Mexico on the bench, and they got Corey Dickerson, who he has power, but I mean he's getting up there. So we'll see.
Hot garbage. But the other pitchers are Josiah Gray. He's a young guy they got in the Scherzer trade. He showed some promise last year, and then he started fading. I think he ended up with a 5 ERA, 10% walk rate. He struggled, but it's like a bunch of young guys just trying to play Major League Baseball that on other teams, a lot of these guys wouldn't be on a Major League team on the team.
No, definitely not. With all this, I mean, Patrick Corbin probably doesn't even deserve to be on a Major League team with his performance last year.
No. And he's making bank too.
Yeah, and he's supposed to be their stud. He had the worst ERA in the rotation.
Yep.
And he's still probably going to be their number 1 starter, sadly.
Yep.
And their bullpen too. All they have is Kyle Finnegan, Sean Doolittle, and Carl Edwards Jr., who is just that guy is just garbage himself. He's bounced around everywhere too.
Is he the guy that owns Carl's Jr.?
I mean, he'd have a better future there. I mean, seriously, call him the superstar.
That's right. One other young pitcher that I've read about, I don't know a lot about, but Cade Cavalli, 24 years old, strikeout pitcher, throws hard, supposed to be pretty good. I don't know if they got him in one of the big trades or he's just a homegrown guy, but it's just a bunch of young dudes.
Yeah, the Nats are supposed to be projected to have like a good farm system too, which I just haven't seen it.
I would hope so.
Besides Juan Soto, that's been it, and I just can't see it. I mean, they're just looking at the roster. I was just like, my God.
Where's Strasburg, by the way?
I think he's still on the team, but he's just never playing.
Okay.
I think they're still paying him. He's still in the league.
I don't know if he got hurt and I missed it or what happened to Strasburg, but
I mean,
Okay.
he's always hurt. It doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Actually, I think he might have went to the White Sox. I'll have to double check that. I think he's in there. I think he's in their system.
For some reason, I haven't seen it, huh? Yeah. So that's the Nats. It's a bunch of young guys trying to prove they can be major leaguers. That's all it is. So yeah, they suck. We're done with the Nats. But that's the NL East. Other than the Nationals, guys, this division is loaded. Do you think it's the best division in baseball overall?
Overall, ooh, that's a tough one. It very well could be. Especially with the top three teams. I mean, it's hard for the teams. I mean, they're fighting with the AL East, right? So all the East divisions are the best.
You know what's weird is the East divisions are the best, right?
Yeah.
The Centrals are the worst, and the
And the
West is
West
like
is
right
so
there in
bad.
between. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's weird. It's bizarre.
It's just baseball.
It is. It is baseball. All right, here we go. It is time for the NL East best bets. I got two. Brad's got two. Let's get into it. Atlanta Braves to win the World Series is my best bet. The most complete team in all of baseball. We just talked about it. It's the bullpen, the rotation, and this lineup, all freaking loaded. Acuna, Riley, Olsen, Albies, the list goes on and on. This team is freaking just absolutely loaded. And I'm going to give you one more bet for the Braves. Bet number 2, Ronald Acuna to win the MVP. I think we've kind of slept on him because of a rough year last year and some injuries last couple of years. We forget just a few years ago, this guy hit 280 over 40 bombs, over 100 ribbies. This guy has all the talent in the world at plus 1,000 as long as he can stay healthy. I love Acuna to win the MVP this year. Those are my two best bets. What do you got, Brad?
My bets are the same, pretty much almost the same thing. NL East, I have the Braves winning the division for plus 110. Obviously, best team in baseball, and they're cheap. We didn't even touch on that. They signed these superstars for not even a lot of money because they want to stay. So
True.
I got Braves winning the division plus 110, and I also got the division standings. I have the Braves, Phillies, and Mets. That's going to be the order of the division, and it's at plus 450.
Another exact finish bet for Brad.
I like those.
So you have the Braves, Mets, and what was it? Braves, Mets, and
Phillies and Mets. I had the Phillies getting second in the division. They're going to squeak by the Mets.
So why do you think the Phillies have the edge over the Mets?
Just pitching the bullpen, like losing Edwin Diaz, that best closer in the game. You're not going to have him all year now for the God forbid, but I think the Phillies they're going to be more complete, especially when Harper comes back. So it's going to be close the first half, and then when they get Harper back, I feel like it's just going to jump.
And the Mets won some close games because you got Diaz closing games out. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
In pressure situations. So,
exactly. Dave Robertson's going to have to step up, and he probably will, but it's not going to be Edwin Diaz.
Yeah. Yep. I like them. Those are our best bets. Let's go to the recap. Take a screenshot of this sucker. Let's get some winners. Braves to win the World Series. Acuna to win MVP. Lots of Braves bets. Braves to win the division plus 110. And by the way, Brad does think the Braves are going to win the World Series also. We did talk before this video. He seconds that. Exact finish. Braves first. Phillies second. Mets third for plus 450. Cool, baby. That's a division right there. That was fun. That's the NL East preview. Thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. We got other videos down below. Go click on these links. Check out our other previews. We're giving out best bets in other divisions. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you guys later.